Hi, so I've only been making YouTube content for a little bit over a year. Big shout out to the coronavirus pandemic for taking away all of my live work. But since day one, I've been consistently in the top 100% of YouTube creators, and some of my videos have had upwards of views. So smash that subscribe button and click that notification icon so that you can never escape from me. And let's get started with 6 guaranteed ways to be a success on YouTube. Okay, so let's get going with number 1 of the 6 ways to guarantee success on YouTube. Okay, here we go. So number 1 is lie. Look, this video doesn't give you 6 ways to guarantee success on YouTube. That's not a real thing. I mean, sure, there are some things that a lot of the more popular channels seem to have in common. You could make a particularly loud and obnoxious thumbnail that disregards all of the basic rules of design and aesthetic and ends up looking like a ransom note made by the person that does the signs for your local pound shop. Seriously, did you see the thumbnail that I made for this video? It looks like a free font website threw up all over a Korean selfie app. Or you could unbox something. Or maybe an offensive and hurtful prank video. Oh, and apparently if you repeat the title of the video in the first few seconds of the video, it somehow helps the algorithm, so that's why I did that. Here's the thing, before we start to strategize on how best to be a success on YouTube, we should probably decide what we actually mean by success. And that's where things start to get a little tricky. If you decided to watch this because you want your videos to get more views, then, well, I am sorry about the slight bait and switch, but I think we're going to talk about something that might end up a lot more valuable to you in the long run. When you're doing any kind of creative work, writing, painting, performing, or yes, making videos for YouTube, it's always useful to decide what will make it a success for you. And often just having made something is success enough, and it should be. If you had an idea and you worked hard to bring it into the real world, using your skill and talent and artistry and craft, then that's a success. You made something. Someone else likes it? That's great. It means something to people? Amazing. But it's very easy for the internet to distract you from that sense of achievement and self-worth and convince you that there is only really one metric for success, and it's that number underneath your video. YouTube is an amazing and beautiful platform full of fascinating people sharing things they made from their minds and their hearts, but it benefits from reframing creation as a kind of video game, with that number underneath your video as your score. Is it me, or does it all sometimes feel like a bit of a pyramid scheme? It doesn't seem like a coincidence that there are so many popular channels full of people telling you how to make successful YouTube videos and then encouraging you to do so. People who get camera equipment for free and then make videos telling you how much more successful you'd be if you used that equipment. Welcome to the Amway family. This isn't bitterness, I promise you. I'm too old, too tired and too medicated for that to be a factor. YouTube is for me pretty much a hobby. It's just a way for me to keep my creative juices flowing until the world returns to normal and I can go back to touring around the world doing my shows at theatres and festivals and clubs. Talking of being on stage, some of my favourite moments on stage have been in small rooms, in little basement clubs, and I'm super happy to have that kind of feel on YouTube. Every time I get a single view or comment, it puts a smile on my face and encourages me to keep making things and keep learning things, and that's as much of a win as I need. Would I like my videos to get lots of views? Yes, of course, that's only natural. But if chasing that number becomes the main factor in you deciding what kind of videos to make, so you end up being a little bit less unique and personal and a little bit more like successful videos that are already out there, well, that seems like a bit of a waste. I mean, we already have those things. We don't have your thing yet. And yes, this is me kind of having my cake and eating it, but in my defence, If you don't have a cake before you eat it, are you just eating someone else's cake? Here's my point. YouTube is a fantastic platform for sharing what you make, and that's all it is, and that's all you should use it for. Don't get caught up in the video game. Try not to judge your work by the number underneath it. My friend Jesse Thorne summed this up way better than me recently. He said, "Focus on the depth of your connection with your audience rather than the breadth." I really like that. For a couple of decades, I was a full-time professional street performer, and many of the most amazing, ridiculous, challenging, hilarious, spectacular, unique things I've ever seen, I saw in that world, usually in front of a small audience who will never forget it. When people talk to me about street theatre, one of the things I always say is only an idiot judges the quality of a show by its venue. A bigger venue, a larger audience, big production values, none of these things mean that the work will be any better. And it's the same on the internet. Make the thing that only you can make. Make it from your head and your heart. And if you can do that with passion and skill, then you'll end up with something that didn't exist before you made it. And that's a success. Keep doing that. Some of my favourite YouTubers are the Vlog Brothers, Becca Fasacci, Kirby Ferguson, Dwayne's Diary, The Nobodies, Adam Savage. They vary wildly in terms of their levels of success by traditional YouTube metrics, but they all have things in common. Their voices, they're unique, interested, genuine, and the way they talk to their audiences with respect and a feeling of equality. They don't talk down to anyone. These are good qualities for YouTube and, in fact, also for life. Look, I really hope this was of some use, and I hope you didn't feel too cheated by the way I satirised clickbait by using clickbait. I did a bad thing for a good reason. Now, at this point, most YouTubers would ask you, beg you, or just flat out instruct you to subscribe and leave a comment under the video. Maybe they do this because they genuinely want to hear what you have to say, or maybe they do it because every time someone leaves a comment under a video on YouTube, it tells the algorithm that people like the video and it pushes it back up so that more people can discover it. Seriously, it doesn't matter what you write. You can tell me what you thought of my video, or you can tell me your favourite Power Ranger and why, or you can just bounce your bare ass up and down on the keyboard and then hit submit. It's all the same to the algorithm. And yes, I'm going to ask you to subscribe, to leave a comment, to follow me on Twitter and Instagram. And here's why. Like I said, I've always liked playing the small rooms, the ones where you can have a real conversation with your audience, where everyone's voices can get heard. So when you leave a comment underneath this video, unless it's just telling me to go fall into a pit of wasps, I will reply and we can have a conversation, and that is, I think, generally a good thing. Okay, we're done. Go and make something that no one else can make. I'll see you in the comments.